Hola, buenas tardes a todos. We're going to do this in English, but thank you all for joining us here today. I'm very excited to be joined here by Alex Holmes from MoneyGram to talk about everyone's favorite use case for crypto, which is remittances. I know it's often presented as the holy grail for what crypto can do. Obviously, we're pretty far from that vision actually becoming a reality, but it does seem like a lot of what MoneyGram is working on is getting us to that point, including a new product that they're announcing today. So very excited to learn more about what that is. I think to start off, Alex, it'd be helpful to learn a little bit about what MoneyGram's digital transformation has looked like. Obviously, it's a legacy payments company that's been around for decades, but has been moving more and more into the digital and crypto space.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. Exciting day for us. So I promise it won't be the normal discussion that I usually have. But no, you know, it's interesting. People love to use the word legacy payments company. And like the beautiful thing I've learned about legacy is that as you get older, you get wise and you get wisdom. So I like to think that we're an ever-evolving, more wise company and wiser than the people calling themselves wise, I think, in many respects. And so we're maturing at a fast rate. So digital for us has been just an amazing opportunity to think differently about how we serve our consumers and our migrant communities around the world. This conference is about unlocking human potential, and I think MoneyGram's core service for years has been about moving people forward. How do we better human lives? How do we create closer connections, tighten and open up community flows? And so MoneyGram's business has been forever and one in evolution. And so what we try to do is deliver to consumers what they're looking for. And so for us, the ability to kind of move from cash to digital services where consumers are coming in through all sorts of different apps around the world, through the MoneyGram.com platform itself, through crypto wallets and other exchanges. It's just really exciting to see kind of that transformation, and it's giving consumers an opportunity to interact with their financial partners in different ways.
Yeah, so let's talk crypto as cross-border payments. So the critique of remittances as they've existed before is that for platforms like MoneyGram or Western Union, it's very expensive and slow, largely because of the banking system. Theoretically, with crypto, you can be able to send money anywhere across the world instantly or very fast and with low fees. Obviously, the issue is that people can't really spend crypto. If you're in a small town in Mexico, you can't go to your store and use USDC to buy food. So you still need that off-ramp. And that off-ramp can still be very expensive. It requires KYC. It's tricky. So I know MoneyGram sits somewhere in the middle where you believe that crypto does serve some sort of utility for that middle layer, but it's not necessarily going to be the end goal. So how have you been thinking about crypto over the past years as you're trying to integrate it into the cross-border flow?
Yeah, so a long time ago, I don't actually remember when, I was thinking about that this morning, but I got into a little mining deal with a friend in Dallas, and we were both in banking and payments and trying to figure out, okay, well, now that we have this, like other than making lots of money, what else can you really do with it? And so we were trying to think about the application in the payment space, and I kept coming back to sort of the MoneyGram situation. And why does MoneyGram exist? We exist because we're actually able to speed up payments globally, because banks and traditional payment methods are not really meant to go cross-border. And so the MoneyGram application itself enables pools of funds to be placed around the world, and then payments instantly flow on behalf of consumers, which is absolutely what you want. And so when people tell me that traditional payments are slow and traditional remittance, it's really not actually accurate at all. In fact, you can send money through the MoneyGram system in sub-seconds anywhere in the world across 23,000 different corridor permutations. And so when I think about that application, and then you start thinking about crypto and speed, it's like, yeah, speed is nice, but speed's not everything. You need utility, you need application for it. And I think the light bulb for us, after sort of partnering for years and trying to figure out different ways into it, was actually spending some time with Stellar and thinking through this idea of utility and sort of how do you pass through from that crypto world into the traditional fiat world. And that, to me, I think is where we actually started to think very, very differently about what we were doing. And I think that's one of the misnomers, and one of the things that I've always sort of pushed back on is that I don't think crypto blockchain is here to displace the current financial system. I think that's kind of a bad idea. But I think bolt-on add-ons and additions to it, and actually improvements to the current financial system, can be manifested through the implementation and circulation of different types of blockchain and crypto. So I think there's a lot of issues with some of the traditional crypto. I think there's issues that need to be sorted out from regulatory and some of the other ideas that are out there. But there's some beautiful things on the blockchain platform that can make life a lot simpler and a lot easier. And so that's where we've been trying to integrate and think about different ways to make that happen. And so last year we announced that we were going to partner with Stellar to become one of the largest on and off ramps for crypto in the world. And doing that through a stable coin actually took away some of the challenges of crypto, which is kind of the volatility within its own FX ecosystem, if I'm allowed to use that phrase.
So my understanding is that where MoneyGram has worked with crypto is basically you've had an ability for users on the wallet to be able to buy and hold crypto, but not necessarily to use it in the traditional money sending format where I have fiat and I transfer it to someone in a different country in another type of fiat, and then maybe that I'm able to hold it in the middle. I think the challenge was you always had to have a destination, right?
That's correct.
So I think that brings us into the new product that you're announcing today, which is a non-custodial wallet, which does really iterate on, I think, how crypto plays into that flow.
That's right. No, absolutely. It's a great segue. So, it's the old adage of if you can't beat them, join them sort of thing. So we spent a lot of time thinking about interoperability, and one of the faults in our current system, if you allow me that, is that when you go to transact, you actually have to complete the transaction. So I need to have a sender and a receiver, and it could be myself, but you actually have to complete the transaction. And one of the beautiful things about stablecoin technology and what's happening in sort of blockchain and tokenization, and even in the NFT world, is that you're actually able to kind of have a stop along the way. And so we thought about non-custodial wallets. We thought about what was happening and whether or not we could implement that into the MoneyGram flows and into our system, and think very differently about how an individual could send money from a cross-border perspective. And so today we're announcing the launch of the MoneyGram non-custodial wallet, which is going to enable, woo! Thank you. Which, I think there's a video, but it's beautiful, it works, it's amazing. And it's in beta, so don't give me too hard of a time later about it. But it actually is absolutely fantastic. Alicia's here from the product team, along with Chris and Miguel and Luther, who have been kind of spearheading all this. And I'm super proud of this. It's absolutely remarkable. When I think about the use cases and permutations of where we can take it and where this can go, it's absolutely fantastic. So at the moment, it's effectively a non-custodial wallet. It's closed loop within the MoneyGram ecosystem, but effectively enables a consumer to be fully KYC'd, as we kind of traditionally do in the money transfer arena, and then load USDC into their wallet, take it anywhere in the world, transfer it, send it to a friend, and then cash that out through the MoneyGram system, which is absolutely phenomenal when you think about it. It also has a really, really, really annoying feature called request. So you can ask people for money, which everyone loves to do, now that they know I'm on the wallet. So we may have to shut that off, but it's really cool.
Was there a video that you wanted to show?
I think there's a video we're going to watch, yeah.
Millions of people rely on MoneyGram's global network to move and manage their money. But millions more don't have equitable access to the global financial system. Today, MoneyGram's vision to connect the world's communities and empower customers through innovative financial solutions takes a giant step forward. Introducing the MoneyGram non-custodial digital wallet. People around the world can now leverage stablecoin technology to seamlessly move from fiat to digital currency and back again at over 400,000 agent locations across 200+ countries and territories. This first-of-its-kind solution is a closed-loop system between traditional money transfers and the power of the blockchain, and delivers global access to the single largest cash on and off-ramp network in the world. People will now be able to buy, sell, transfer, or hold USDC, backed by MoneyGram's global reputation for speed, efficiency, and trust, no matter where they live. That's the power of people and technology. Built on Stellar. Powered by MoneyGram.
So I think it's important to demystify the remittance process and how it works from step to step. And specifically with the innovation here, why is it important that you don't have to have a destination when you're sending the money? Why did you want to build a feature where people can actually hold USDC in between a fiat to fiat transfer?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question to sort of unpack and think about. One of the most amazing things about cross-border payments is, and I agree with this statement, is how inefficient it is. And so companies like MoneyGram and others really need to think about how do you unpack that and kind of transform that market. And so because banks are so inefficient, because economies are built to be really domestically oriented, cross-border kind of gets lost in that. And so what we're able to do is put liquidity pools around the world and manage fiat currencies and then do an amazing job settling consumer transactions. And so consumers don't see that work happening in the background. And so our system from that perspective, I think, takes on those challenges and sort of reinvents it a little bit. When you bring in the idea of blockchain and crypto, you begin to see kind of a similar effect. So the question becomes, in the crypto space, right, how do you move the money with the coin, and then how do you actually utilize that in the future? And in the future, there may be all sorts of ways to use crypto at the point of sale and in payments. It gets regulated and taxed properly, and governments get comfortable with it. But in the meantime, you sort of need to be able to move that through the system. One of the challenges that we face in the money transfer space and for consumers sending money home to friends and family is really trying to time their send, right? It's having stability of a coin, it's having stability of fiat currency, and then oftentimes sending it into what I would call an exotic currency that's subject to potentially a lot of volatility. You can think about the Bangladeshi taka as an example. You can think about fluctuations in Ghanaian cedi and other currencies in foreign markets. And so because of that, the sender is typically trying to time the send to make it accessible to the receiver when the receiver needs the money. And they're kind of looking at FX rates and what's happening in the market and then sending. What you can do through this new technology is actually make a different decision. When the money is ready to be sent, you can actually now load it into USDC, send the USDC, and then enable the receiver to have the power to pull the money down when they want to. And that is actually kind of an interesting step along the way to introduce into the money flow so that you no longer have to actually complete the transaction when you're sending. So it's giving consumers a different use case. It's giving that opportunity to think very differently about what it really means to send money cross-border, and also being able to do that in a stable currency. The reason we picked USDC to start with is because we wanted a stable coin that we could actually rely on and represent to consumers that actually has the funds behind it.
It's fascinating because it almost seems like being able to have a bank account, if you're not in the US, that holds US dollars. So that does seem like an innovation using crypto, although I'm curious if there are any regulatory concerns there as well, because obviously you can't do this with US dollar, or else anybody basically would be able to have a bank account anywhere in the world that has US dollar as the deposit denomination.
No, that's a really good point. Anyone who runs a company should always travel with a lawyer. I have one here, and I can see Candace smiling in the back. Look, I mean, I think this is a market that's being defined daily. I think that this is, an industry that is under a lot of scrutiny globally from governments. I think there's a lot of mistrust and misunderstanding about blockchain and about cryptocurrency in particular. And some of that comes from, I think, the pressure that it's putting on sort of that traditional financial system. And, we can all sit here and argue whether or not politicians are good at their jobs and governments are good at their jobs. At the end of the day, though, any sort of government economic, sovereign nation is built to protect its citizens and protect its borders. Again, whether it's good or bad, I'm not going to argue. But the idea that you could simply, democratize consumers and have free flow of funds is actually, pretty scary. A lot of people come to me with these examples of, we want to use cryptocurrency and we're going to, really help Argentina. We're going to help, countries in Africa. If I'm sitting there as, the economic minister of one of those markets, I'm thinking to myself, well, actually, you're probably going to destabilize my country even further if suddenly consumers have their own flow of funds that actually don't go through some sort of economic system. And so I think, to me, it has to catch up, and so regulation is going to take time. And I think as we continue to push innovation, I think if we do that, using the skills and the technologies that we have. And for us, a lot of what we do is global compliance. It's KYC, it's AML, it's anti-fraud, terrorist financing tracking and measuring. And so, we go into this thinking to ourselves, if we apply the same standards that we use in the fiat space and we apply that to what we're doing in the crypto space and keep it simple for now, then we can do a lot and sort of empower, MoneyGram, we can empower consumers around the world to think differently, interact with the company differently, and interact with each other differently, and actually, to your point, kind of give them a global wallet that's has US dollars in it, which is going to give them that that ability to pull that down into their market when they need it.
And then speaking again about regulatory concerns, it's interesting that this is a non-custodial wallet, but like you said, it's fully KYC'd, and it's also only compatible with other MoneyGram wallets. And I assume that will face some pushback in the crypto crowd, where obviously it doesn't share a lot of traits that other non-custodial wallets do. So I'm curious why you decided to go down that path.
Yeah, again, my lawyer's here. No, I'm kidding. Look, we decided to go down this path for a couple of different reasons. One is that, I personally, believe in, if you're going to enter the financial system, I think you need to be ID'd and show your, you check into a hotel, you have to show your ID. Apparently, there's a belief that you should be able to send hundreds of thousands of dollars to people without telling anyone who you are, and I just don't think that really, makes anybody feel good about life. I get why it occurs, but I do think that there's a need for regulatory. We are very regulated in the markets around the world. There's a lot of scrutiny on us, and whether that scrutiny actually comes from a government, or whether it comes from a bank, or whether it comes from another business partner, we want to be able to answer the questions straightforward and honest, that we're licensed, we're follow the policies, procedures of the country. And so for us to be able to have a closed loop wallet that allows us to know who our customers are, to say that they're fully KYC, to know that they're moving money from fiat into a stable coin, but then back out into fiat, or reverse that, actually gives a lot of control and oversight and power back to MoneyGram, in the sense that we can represent to regulators around the world and to banks like what's actually happening with the money and the funds flows. And I think that's important, that we continue to represent it that way until there's more clarity and certainty around, around regulation and exactly what needs to be seen. Ideally, longer term, this can evolve very, very quickly, right? This can become, centralized into our system. We can open it up to others. People can move, in and out, and we can do more than, just one stable coin. We can introduce new coins. We can introduce new chains. We can do different things. But you have to start somewhere, and I think this is a great place to begin.
Does that create a roadblock where you have to create different KYC processes in every country where this is going to be available?
Well, no, actually, we have a standardized KYC process in every country globally today, and we can simply apply that to this service as well. So there's work to do. We're not digitally KYCing consumers in every market. We can do that in a significant number of countries. In other countries, we still have to do manual KYC, but you got to start somewhere, and we're beginning to think about how do we do more digital KYC in more markets, and so that'll be something that'll be kind of a fast follower.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what this QR code?
Yeah. So look, I mean, QR code, like, you got to have one, and I guess the video was Zoom before, but now this is the biggest QR code I've ever seen. So please, if you want to scan this, pull it down. We'd love to have you in the wallet. We are still in beta mode, but we're going to do something kind of fun, which is you're all going to now be our beta testers. We'd love to get your feedback. Many of you build wallets for a living and do wonderful things with them. But we'd love to have you try this. I think we're going to load it with $10, so you've got something to try. You can even go to one of our MoneyGram locations here in Madrid and pull down some money if you want to just blow it all tonight. Although I think there's free drinks tomorrow, so maybe hold off on that. But yeah, no, we'd love to have you guys in. It'll continue to be sort of an expanding group as we kind of move from beta into production. I think you'll find it to be pretty fun and pretty unique. And one of the coolest things about it is requesting money from people and also sending money to other people, which is sort of constantly happening. So one of the things that I could encourage you to do is to find a friend to send some money to and hope they send some back as well. But yeah, I mean, this is here for us to have some fun with, introduce it to the world, and so I'm thrilled to be able to do that today.
Reminds me of the Coinbase Super Bowl ad with the QR code that bounced around the screen
a
few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious because you're seeing more and more that TradFi companies are moving into the crypto space, and unlike the early adopters in crypto, they don't seem to believe that crypto will someday take over for fiat currency. And this new product does also seem to be an admission of that, where stablecoins are the middle ground between fiat to fiat. They're obviously not taking over for fiat. And I'm curious from your perspective, if you do think cash will always be part of the global financial ecosystem, or if crypto at some point will become the endpoint.
Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, we can get dystopian if we want, but, you know, at the end of the day, I do think cash is going to be around for a long time. I was joking earlier, and I guess I'll make another joke. I guess Senator Menendez likes to have a lot of cash in his house. I think a lot of people are that way. You know, I do think cash and cash economies continues to drive a lot of the world. I mean, you know, today we say about 50% of all our transactions are digital, but in many, many markets, that number is significantly smaller. And you continue to see sort of the proliferation and need for cash. I mean, so many people around the world live below the poverty line, and cash is really, you know, king for them. And getting particularly remittance money sent back home is their lifeline to, you know, to a future. And so, I think it's important. I think it's going to stay around for a while. And we're going to continue to push it. And I think things like this type of technology, even the partners we have, you know, the Lobsters, the Vibrants, and others that are on the network today, enabling, you know, cash in and cash out is enabling people to change lives as well. And part of that cash economy will fade over time as younger generations come up that are more used to, you know, technology, as banking trends change, as you know, wallet proliferation continues to move. And so I think this will become, you know, a much bigger part of the global financial system in the future. But it will take some time, and I don't think that cash is going anywhere anytime soon. But, you know, it certainly will continue to fade over time.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the main challenges for mass adoption for crypto, obviously there's the frauds that we see over and over again. There's the volatility. And I also think that UI is a huge one, where oftentimes it's just really difficult to use crypto products.
Yeah.
It seems like this is, you know, this is obviously a very well-developed product, although I haven't used it yet. I assume it is.
Just scan the code, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if I can ethically claim
by.
the 10E USDC or whatever, but what do you see as the main roadblocks to adoption when it comes to crypto?
Yeah, no, actually, before we go there, I just want to say, I do want to thank Cheesecake Labs, who helped us build the app. It's beautiful. Thank you very much. And I do think user experience is an important part of it. I do think there are things in blockchain, there are things in crypto world that, yeah, I can't quite even understand, and I'm by no means an expert. And so when you think about a person farther down, probably in a lower economic, you know, socio status that maybe has less education, I mean, it gets infinitely complicated. So I do think that simplicity, ease of use, and integration, you know, can go a long way. What was the original question? I just wanted to say that, and then I've lost track.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what the main challenges or roadblocks to mass adoption are right now for
Yeah,
crypto.
well, okay. I guess I was heading down that path. But, well, one of the first things that I would like to remind everyone, for whatever reason, is that, you know, there's an enormous number of blockchains. There's a lot of cryptocurrencies, and there's competition. I mean, I have yet to be anywhere where someone who's started a blockchain, started a coin, started a wallet hasn't told me that they're going to put everyone else out of business. And so, you know, within that own ecosystem, there's a lot of competition as well. So when we're shooting for standards, you've got, you know, a really, really interesting growing industry that's basically competing with themselves and, you know, trying to find the better mousetrap right now. Nothing wrong with that at all, but it does lend itself toward misinformation being shared with different, you know, different regulators and others. I also think really getting some standards around what do you do with it, right? You know, in the perfect world of crypto blockchain where things are, you know, happening within that ecosystem, I mean, stablecoins are invented so that you could actually pass between, you know, different coins and give a medium of exchange. When you think about volatility of different current coins and different current, you know, when you try to actually bring them back into the fiat world, it's really no different than the challenges you have moving fiat currencies around today, which is, you know, you have FX valuations because someone is putting FX or a value against each coin, and those values move around. So I think that issue will continue to be there. And so what I love about this idea of a stable coin is that if you actually think about it and use it the proper way, you can make it interoperable with anything. And, you know, MoneyGram's system enables that as well. We can actually take away FX, you can add FX, you can pull things and you can make them standardized. And so it gives you a medium of exchange. And so I think building out further use cases, continuing to push forward. And then I think when you can get to adaptive values at the point of sale, I think it's going to make a big difference. You know, one of the biggest challenges when you travel, when you go anywhere is, you know, is it in dollars, is it in euros? Well, when you go to the point of sale, you can only accept so many currencies, right? It just gets really complicated for payment providers. And so what's the payment mechanism for you know, a cryptocurrency? Well, it depends on the cryptocurrency. So I think standards have to come into place. We've got to get some value-creating ideas, or we're just going to have to completely shift and move off the current financial model, which I'm not sure is really going to happen tomorrow. So
yeah. Do you think Ripple could make a comeback?
There's a lot of FX volatility in that stuff. That's probably the single biggest challenge that we had, you know, using that was we were trying to look at cross-border use cases, and you go from, you know, US dollar to a peso like we do today. You've got to buy pesos, you have to play pesos into the market. There's an FX cost to that. Well, you think when you go into the crypto world, you could eliminate the FX cost. The reality is you can't, because that coin's moving around in value. So it didn't really solve for anything, and actually it added a third element, because now you're going a dollar to a currency to another currency. So now you're doing like 2 foreign exchange trades instead of 1. So it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So, you know, I won't comment on, you know, what else they're doing or where they're going to go, because, you know, it's a lovely company, I guess.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on the new wallet or anything you want to share about the launch?
No, I just, hey, look, I'm super excited to be here. I think it's awesome, again, for a legacy company to be transforming the way we have really over the last 5 to 6 years, to get much more consumer direct, to become much more focused on user experience, to think digital first, and then to be able to actually, you know, partner with Stellar, who I thank for, you know, so much of our success, to think differently about use cases for consumers, to think differently about the economy. You know, again, I'll come back to the theme of the conference, not to be cheesy about it, but, you know, unlocking human potential. I mean, that's what this is about. You know, we're trying to make the world a better place through helping consumers get, you know, their hard-earned money back home to take care of their family, friends, loved ones, to make better lives, and, you know, to do that through the Stellar blockchain, to partner with UNHCR to do aid disbursement, to make all these things come to life. It's just been a remarkable story over the last couple of years, and I'm thrilled to be part of it, and thank everyone for being here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us and everyone for listening in today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.